I am a big supporter of the whole you should be waving American flags thing. You're Americans protesting against American tyranny, and the argument that you're making is that the people here deserve to be in America and not be deported. I think you should carry an American flag if you're going to. I would like to see these protests lit up with American flags. It seems a little bit ideologically incongruous to fly the Mexico flag, because then what you're kind of saying is like, well, okay, so they're Mexican? Well, that's what Tom Homan is saying. That's what ICE is saying. But I don't want to go too crazy with this, because I know there is a bunch of liberals who are they're gonna, like, you know, explain this shit to lefties as though lefties control the protesters. The guys waving Mexican flags and doing donuts in a moped in downtown Los Angeles or Compton or whatever are not Twitter lefties, right? They're guys. They're like dudes, you know? So they're not hearing you, you know? I'm just saying, if you want to bring a big old American flag to the protest, I think it's a good look. I just don't want to have this argument every time, because then everyone, they come in, they're like, well, you're Hitler. And I'm like, okay, me being Hitler aside, answer the goddamn argument. Respond to the premise. You're engaging in ad hominem. The fact that I'm Hitler has nothing to do with the merits of this argument. And then it's nobody, I've got, you know, the debate credentials. No one goes after me after that, you know? Why wave a flag of genocidal imperialists? You'll understand when you're not 13 years old. But to wave a flag of genocidal imperialists, Jesus Christ. Apply that standard consistently. You see, when you see the Japanese flag or whatever, you're like, oh wow, that's literally the Hitler flag. Bro, that's literally the Hitler flag. They just took the stripes away. It just bothers me a little bit that, like, there's good-hearted liberals who are making the argument like, supporting immigration is an American virtue. You're un-American, ICE. ICE is un-American, fascist fucks. And then some lefties are like, actually, being anti-immigrant is as American as it gets. You go, ICE and Tom Homan. You're acting very American right now. Who the f do you think you're helping? Shit, they should send you to El Salvador, okay? Jesus Christ. At least the people they deported when they were here were being productive. You're being counterproductive, which I'm told is the opposite of being productive. Yeah. People do that with the Nazi shit, right? People say, yeah, nothing more American than beating up Nazis. And then some dumbass 13-year-old lefty on Twitter will be like, actually, have you heard about Operation Paperclip? That basically, like, undoes all the anti-Nazi stuff America did or something. Did you know that some people in America like Nazis? Hey, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm venting a little bit. I'm venting and I'm being a little bit sus. Just, you know, we should define what our national identity is. I agree. I think that we should exercise some authority over how we as a national group are perceived, because that is, like, the authority to do that gives you, like, a lot of power in the future of the country, you know? If you want to take your hands off the wheel and say, whatever, America, you be fascist, that's you, then okay, then wow, thank you for being helpful. That's great. Thank you for being first to the punch to point out that America is bad. You were so helpful. Thank you. Oh, you were right? America was bad? Wow. Now that is what I call praxis. Vosh, define our national identity? You can do that any way you want. Everyone makes the argument. You know what I think? And I mean this sincerely, okay? I think that America is a cultural hegemon almost entirely because of our immigration policy and multiculturalism. I think that when we think of America, we think of a beautiful tapestry of contributions of people from ethnicities, religions, nationalities, races, whatever, who have come from all over the world. And I think that, like many countries, we have been very Hitlerite at times. That's not just America, dude, okay? You go France, England, Italy, Germany, Japan, Russia, China, you name a country, they've been Hitler at some point. I'm not saying that excuses it. I'm just saying that if you're talking about, like, our ethnic persecutions, is racism an American phenomenon? Of course not. This is like this is like a very broad problem, you know? But I think there is, and I mean this sincerely, something exceptional about America's multiculturalism. So when I say, you know, oh, well, that's American, you know, oh, that's American to me, or like, what should our national identity be? Well, I think you can make a very strong case for the fact that part of the American national identity is the integration of immigrants. You know, I think that's a unique defining trait. I think we are particularly good about that. Multicultural, so multiple flags. It's one country, motherfucker. A flag is a national symbol of status. Or it tells people if you're like gay or like it up the ass or whatever, okay? When I say like, well, I think everyone in the world is American, I'm half joking. But what I mean sincerely, and I mean this at the time, this isn't me doing a bit. In my mind, if you live here, you are American. And that's that. I have never in my life thought beyond that point. I have no other criteria. If you're living here for 1 year as an H-1B visa holder, you know, you're here for a job or something, as far as I'm concerned, you're American. You can stop when you leave if you want, but when you're here, you're American, you know? You're part of that, like, group. And, you know, pardon me for being misty-eyed about it or whatever, but I mean that. And I think it's a little bit dumb when lefties give up on that kind of idealism, you know, give up on the motive to write America's story because they're cynically ascribing the negative traits in favor of that, and they're basically giving the game to the right. Because what they're saying, what the right is saying is, well, no, America is a white country built by white people, and it ought to stay that way. And what a lot of lefties, I see them saying basically is, yeah, you're right, that is America. And I'm like, what the f*** are you doing, man? No, it's not. American culture, we wrap around the world, and it's not because we're a white ethno state. It's because of the opposite of that. You're giving the game to them. You're making their argument. You don't have to give that line up and ignore the contributions or whatever to point out that America's bad. I just don't like, well, if you want to make a point about America doing something bad, then just make that point. I don't see the utility in giving up the whole narrative. I don't know, sorry, I'm just rambling, but I do mean this, you know? And we can also be a little prescriptive with the national identity thing, right? Can't we say like, well, we'd like it if America was defined by this? Maybe America's been defined by a lot of things, a lot of good and a lot of bad. Maybe we should, you know, sort of aspire to make it like about good things rather than just throwing our arms up and going, well, no, it's irredeemably bad. For some reason, I, a materialist, believe that a country can be irredeemably bad, like off its specific virtues, as opposed to, you know, just the nature of it being a nation state, you know? For some reason, I believe that in this specific case. So what you're saying is we should make America good again? I think we should make America great again, my friend. Okay, but lefties aren't the reason they wave the flag. It's because it has emotional significance to them. Pretty seems shit to go after for. I'm not going after a single person who's waving the Mexican flag. You see me getting mad at them? I'm just making my case. That's it. Somebody's out there waving the Mexican flag. God bless them. I don't give a shit. That doesn't make them any less American. I'm just saying, I think the protests would look good lighting up with the flag a little bit. That's all. Not in a burning the flag kind of way, but you can do that too if you want. I mean, you know.